There comes a morning when the polite lies stop working. You look at the distance between what you hoped for and what you keep waking to, and you feel the weight settle at the base of the neck. The usual tricks, affirmations, borrowed optimism, motivational noise. Don't lift it. You are not broken. You are simply colliding with the structure of the world. Arthur Schopenhauer did not offer sugar. He offered a mirror that refuses costume. Life strains toward itself through you, uses your hunger to multiply its aims, and bills you for the privilege. Pain is not a malfunction. It is the baseline. Joy is not a guarantee. It is a mercy. Accept that, and the panic subsides. Deny it, and every day becomes a lawsuit against reality. This is not an invitation to despair. It is a contract with the real, so you can stop wasting strength on fantasy and build a character that does not collapse when the weather tells the truth. Schopenhauer starts where men hide least comfortably. The fabric of experience is struggle. Desire wakes you, drives you, and when it is fed, it breeds new desire. Satisfaction is a pause between appetites. Much of what you call misfortune is simply the friction of a being that wants more than a day can give. Remove the mask, and you see that sorrow is common, boredom is common, loss is common, and no amount of wishing alters the algorithm that runs beneath your private narrative. The gain in this bleak clarity is immediate. The sense of personal persecution thins. You stop treating hardship as a personal insult. Suffering ceases to be scandal and becomes a fact to be managed. What held you hostage was not the pain itself, but the belief that pain proved some cosmic error had been made in your case. Men waste years litigating that error. They measure their lives against pamphlets and find themselves guilty. The pessimistic diagnosis ends that trial. The law is harsh and simple. You will be denied as often as you are granted. You will be misunderstood by people too busy to read you. You will be lonely in rooms that love you because what you carry cannot be shared at the volume you need. Strength begins where the demand for a softer cosmos ends. Stop appealing, start arranging. You cannot abolish the wind. You can set the sail. In this light, hope returns in a different shape. It is no longer a guarantee from the future. It is a choice in the present. You arrange your day around inevitable frictions. You lower your voice because shouting at walls is a child's game. You thank brief intervals of ease without treating them as a verdict that all will be easy now. Men who carry this knowledge stop making enemies of mornings. They meet reality as a sparring partner rather than as a thief. Beneath your projects runs a blind insistence. Schopenhauer calls it the will. It is not your preferences or your biography. It is the push that uses them. It wants more life and urges you to believe that the next acquisition, embrace, promotion, or applause will cure the unrest. It does not intend your harm. It is simply indifferent to your peace. When it wins, it resets the target. When it loses, it tightens the leash. Naming this racket does not extinguish it. It exposes it, and exposure is leverage. You begin to see how often you were conscripted. The speech you gave about purpose was frequently a cover for craving. The romance you named destiny was often a trick of biology. The anger you framed as principle was sometimes just a tantrum against limit. This is not self-contempt. It is inventory. The moment you see the will trying to draft you with glossy promises, a thin slice of freedom appears. You can move from compulsion to consent. You can say, not today, or yes, but on my terms. The will feeds on illusion. It thrives when you baptize every surge as sacred and every itch as truth. Refusal to romanticize your own agitation is the first masculine austerity. Austerity here is not cruelty against yourself. It is the refusal to be rented by needs that never pay. You take your hunger seriously enough to question it. You draw a hard line between what must be fed and what can wait. You stop equating urgency with importance. That separation saves lives, and it will save yours from the soft, endless disasters that befall men who confuse motion for fate. There is a secondary gain in this exposure. The demands of others lose their spell when they are vehicles for the same blind push. You can be kind without being captured. You can serve without being steered. You can help without letting someone else's alarm become your government. The will is everyone's master when unexamined. It is nobody's ruler when seen clearly and held to proportion. That proportion is your quiet revolution. Optimism promises strength through mood. Schopenhauer promises strength through renunciation of lies. When you no longer require the world to flatter you, your spine returns. You accept that fatigue is part of the day and proceed anyway. You accept that many efforts will land without applause and you work anyway. You accept that discipline never becomes easy, only familiar, and you keep the appointments you set with yourself. You simplify your standards to what can be checked. You tell the truth even when it does not purchase advantage, because the price of being false to yourself is higher than any discount. This kind of strength is quiet. It does not need a soundtrack. It does not manifest as slogans taped to mirrors. It shows up as sobriety in the face of your own tendencies to dramatize. It shows up as an ability to begin again without turning beginnings into spectacle. It shows up as politeness that never agrees to be managed. Warmth that never promises to erase consequences. Calm that might be mistaken for cold by people who have only seen excitement. The city needs men like this because storms are frequent and officials of weather are few. Most discouragement in men comes from a single misunderstanding. They believe that a strong life should feel strong. In fact, a strong life often feels unremarkable. It is a chain of kept decisions, repeated past the point of novelty, endured past the point of audience. The reward is not a permanent state of triumph, but a growing trust in your own word. That trust is what other people start to stand on. That is reputation, earned the hard way, and it resists the gossip of softer ages because your archive answers for you. The pessimistic view clears a final obstacle. You no longer fear sadness as if it will erase you. Sadness becomes one of the weathers you can work through. You cook, repair, read, lift, write, apologize, enforce as required, without waiting for good feeling to pre-approve the act. Men who live like this acquire a face that settles rooms. They are not immune to collapse, but their collapses do not end them. They rise without ceremony and continue. Schopenhauer salutes solitude not to flatter misanthropy, but to reduce noise. The more people you require to regulate your moods, the more you will be bounced by their storms. Quiet is not an escape. It is the condition under which you can hear your own scale of value. In silence, you stop being auditioned by audiences who do not know your name. In silence, you discover how much of your anger was theater for a crowd you were trying to convert. Silence pairs you back to something manageable. Low expectation is not cynicism. It is an alignment with probability. Most days will be medium. Most ventures will be slow. Most human exchanges will be imperfect. When you expect less, gratitude can finally reach you. A clean meal, a sturdy friend, tools that do what they promise, a book that takes you farther than the feed, a body that obeys when asked. These become riches. Men who cultivate these quiet tastes become harder to bribe with cheap highs. They also become easier to be around because they are not billing every room for the failure to thrill them. Solitude is not a vow against love. It is the refusal to make another carry what no one can carry. If you can keep your own counsel, you can meet a woman as a person rather than as an instrument for your comfort. If you can occupy your own hours, you do not sell your mornings for access. If you can be alone without despair, you can say no without fear, and every yes you offer gains weight. A man like this stops frightening himself with his loneliness. He begins to use it the way craftsmen use a bench. From that bench, you also learn which voices to keep. Not everyone earns entry to the workshop. The men you keep will be those who tell you the truth in ordinary tones and whose days produce more than they post. You won't need many. You will need a few you can trust at midnight, men who do not buy or sell illusions. With them, you cure the worst of modern discouragement, the belief that you must perform your life to prove you have one. Pessimism without mercy becomes cruelty. Schopenhauer never asked you to harden into a statue. He urged compassion because the world's machinery takes its toll on everyone. The trick is to keep compassion from becoming a costume that flatters you while helping no one. You reduce suffering where you can reach it. You send support quietly. You keep confidences. You steady a brother's hand without rehearsing a speech about your kindness. In a pessimistic frame, each reduction of pain is worth more precisely because there is no promise of utopia. You are not decorating your conscience. You are reducing the bill real people must pay. Compassion begins at home with your own partitioned self. You will fail and you will fail again. The point is not to invent an identity from those failures. The point is to repair rapidly and go back to work. You speak gently to the part of you that wants comfort all day and you deny him the throne. You do not expect heroic feeling each afternoon. You accept mediocre hours that nonetheless move the stone. Mercy for yourself is not excuses. It is a refusal to sentence yourself to theatrical repentance. Fix, learn, resume. Extend the same to those who walk with you. A woman who meets you halfway and carries her share will still have storms. You keep your law, you keep your tenderness. You do not erase consequence with pity, and you do not erase pity with consequence. Children will frustrate and astonish in equal measure. You remain legible so they know what weather means around you. Colleagues will break promises. You respond with proportion, not revenge. The pessimistic lens pulls you out of melodrama. It reminds you that error is the common human condition. From that truth, you can be a decent man without pretending to be a saint. This kind of compassion does not make you popular. It makes you useful. You become the one who can be trusted when the room stops pretending. Realism dignifies care because it removes performance. You do not need witnesses to do the obvious good. You do not need hashtags to remember the hungry. You act in ways that persist when the fashion moves on. Schopenhauer's final gift is permission to live with a heavy crown. The crown is not celebrity. It is responsibility chosen without the promise of ease. You accept that your life will not feel fair, and that the scoreboard will rarely reflect the depth of your effort. You accept that much of what you build will be misunderstood, and some of it forgotten. You accept that the deeper satisfactions arrive late and quietly. You accept that romantic illusions die, and that what remains can still be worthy. This acceptance does not make you small. It makes you durable. From here, you put your name on fewer promises and keep them. You select undertakings that make sense when no one claps. You do what is needed because it is needed, not because it prints well. You refuse roles that require constant falsification. You decline invitations to rooms where weather is worshipped. You allow yourself to be thought cold by those who only recognize heat. The men you respect will know exactly what you are doing. They will recognize the discipline in it. They will build beside you because the work, not the theater, is what interests them. There is a rare joy inside this gravity. It comes from meeting reality as it is and finding that you still prefer to live. It is the laugh after hard labor, the peace after a repair, the look from someone who sleeps easier because you did what you said you would. It is not light in the sky, it is warmth in the bones. Pessimism does not forbid that warmth. It makes it honest by refusing to demand that life be other than it is. If this mirror felt harsh and clarifying in the right places, write in the comments below the one sentence that you will live this week, to stop arguing with reality and start aligning with it. Like this video and share this with a brother who keeps mistaking performance for strength. Subscribe if you want philosophy that trades flattery for form.